May 20th, 2010, Grant Smith. I think that it's really important to note that electric cars might be the first step sideways, or even backwards. And electric cars are a cool new technology. They're more sustainable than regular cars because they don't use gas. They use electricity, which can in theory be provided by the sun or wind. And even though electric cars initially will mostly be run off oil, natural gas, and maybe some nuclear power, eventually they could be switched to a sustainable mode like wind. But I think it's important to note that electric cars, at least electric cars nowadays, lack some of the capabilities of regular gas guzzling or diesel fueled cars. The main one would be range, and that is that electric cars can only go about 100 miles on a battery charge, and then you have to wait like 4 to 8 hours, and then you get another 100 miles. So that means if you want to have a long road trip with a single personally owned vehicle, that you'd have to stop every 100 miles and wait 4 hours. And so that seems pretty clearly like one thing that gas cars could do, but electric cars can't do. And clearly there are ways around this. I mean, you could have companies that set up posts where you just move from one car to the next at every 100-mile interval, and there are other ways to get around this, but in general, it seems like a step backwards, at least in that aspect. And it's the first time, I think, that the technology has been demanded as a result of diminishing natural resources, as opposed to a technology being developed and converted to that technology simply because it's better. Like, it's not like when we stopped using fireplaces to heat our homes that we were out of wood to burn in the fireplaces or bricks to build the fireplaces with. It's just that we happen to find a better, more efficient, more economical, and more effective way to heat our homes more evenly, thoroughly. There were things that were better about it, and few, if any, things that were worse. And even when the furnaces were developed, there were still, like, anyone that wanted could still use a fireplace. And that's not going to be true moving to electric cars. There will still be gas-powered cars, but not everyone that wants will be able to use them because they'll become more and more expensive. And so people will, in effect, eventually be forced to convert to the new technology rather than choosing to convert to it. And it'll kind of appear like a choice because it kind of is, but it's an economical choice, and it'll be a forced economical shift in that direction where only the rich will be able to afford the more capable gas vehicles, which is actually an older technology, so it's kind of backwards from the way things normally work. Or maybe at best you could consider it a step sideways, because they would be more economical at the very least. You could argue that that's better. Argue that the sustainability aspect is better. It's better for the world, but I mean, there's still people that are going to be burning gas, and so like the gas is going to get used up eventually, and it's going to be used up by the people that have more money. And I just think that's important to note. I don't understand why some things aren't covered in the news. Like, China said that they would probably stop exporting some of the rare heavy earth metals that they mine and process, and they're the only country in the world right now that does that, which means that 5 to 10 years from now, the U.S. and Canada are going to have to start strip mining some of their reserves, and that seems like a pretty big deal. And like, that's something that people should know about because it's something we're going to have to think about in the future and be concerned with and deal with. And I'm going to keep these to 5 minutes, so that was my 5 minutes of thinking for today. Peace.